fellow YouTubers, welcome back to the Trouble 8385 show. You know, I don't really talk about it much, but I have been a big wrestling fan since right before WrestleMania 1. I first was invited to my cousin's house to go see it. I just remember looking out wrestling on TV to find out what it was to be invited, and seeing, you know, Hulk Hogan and all those guys I watched back then, and just falling in love with it. And I've kept up with it ever since, on and off. And tonight, I decided I would just go check out a stream online, and the CM Punk thing kind of got me interested again, and so I went and decided to check out SummerSlam. And when I saw the Christian versus Randy Orton match, where, you know, Christian was going to do his thing in the air, and then Randy Orton does the RKO and he lands on the steel steps, I'm like, how are they going to top that in the next match? And the next match, you know, the CM Punk versus John Cena, it was the first really lively crowd I've seen in a wrestling pay-per-view in a while. Most of them are kind of like dead these days. For them to do this, to John Cena, CM Punk chant back and forth was really cool during the match. But anyway, and you ended it with CM Punk, you know, beating John Cena, though John Cena's foot was on the rope and Triple H didn't see it. And you're like, wow, that wasn't too much of a surprise ending. That's kind of the typical norm these days, you know. If you watch wrestling, you know these things. They really haven't had a big surprise at the end of a pay-per-view, you know, since like the late 90s to early 2000. They've been stagnant. There hasn't been a lot of surprises at the end. And so that happened, and all of a sudden you see somebody come out of the crowd, and Kevin Nash comes out and basically power bombs CM Punk. Like, wow, they actually used Kevin Nash. I just thought he showed up, you know, at the Royal Rumble to get his retirement check and go away. And then Triple H looks surprised. He starts to come down, and then Del Rio with the Money in the Bank comes down, and he wins the title. First of all, I don't like the push they've been giving Del Rio. I think they've been forcing him down people's throats. You know, that's why I haven't liked him. They kind of like moved him really fast into the position. So now he's champion. So now the questions tomorrow are, okay, John Cena had his foot on the rope, so he really didn't lose, but he did. Kevin Nash powerbombed CM Punk, so did Del Rio hire him to do that, and is Del Rio really champion? Or are we setting up for a 3 or 4 man pay-per-view for the championship? Are we setting a Del Rio versus CM Punk versus John Cena? Or is it going to be a 4 with Kevin Nash added? I don't know what they're going to do. Or was this all planned? Because they showed Stephanie McMahon earlier in the night go to CM Punk, and he made a comment, wouldn't shake her hand, and then she went to John Cena, she came out of his dressing room, they didn't say what happened there. And then CM Punk wouldn't shake Triple H's hand. It makes me wonder, did Triple H and Stephanie set them up, you know, either whoever was going to win to lose, or they set CM Punk to lose to give it Del Rio for a reason? But it was one of the more interesting pay-per-view endings of a pay-per-view I've seen in a while. It's what used to make us watch the pay-per-views in the late 90s and early 2000s, you know. You used to get excited when you didn't know what was going to happen at the end of Raw, you didn't know what was going to happen at the end of pay-per-view. And it was the first time in a while. They've kind of, honestly, in wrestling, they've kind of slowly started making it interesting again. Because the problem they have today with wrestling, anybody's a fan will tell you, a lot of guys just don't have personalities. They're all kind of cut out. You can cut that guy out and put another guy in his place. The main one would be John Cena. He used to be, when he first came to Raw, you know, he was exciting, he was new, and since then he's lost a lot of his personality. He's just a superhero figure and nothing exciting anymore, like he used to be, the rapping and all this stuff, and now he's lost all that. So anyway, so just to let you know, I've been a big wrestling fan for a long time, and I do keep track of it. So that was actually kind of exciting how it ended. So if you saw SummerSlam, or you have your comments about wrestling below, just leave your comments, and I'll love to read them. So till the next video.